Hey guys, welcome back to this place, and if you are new, then welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen.
I'm Calvin.
And we are going to watch Avatar: The Last Airbender, Season 3, Episode 6. Yeah. Right now. Let me just watch it. I bet people would like that instead of the intro. Last time on Avatar, previously on Avatar, we had the beach episode where we had some revelations from Zuko, which I needed to hear from him because he has been, frustrating me this season because I feel he's betraying himself as well as Iroh, He's not being true to who he is, which is what's the most upsetting thing. And we also had Aang and the gang running from the assassin guy. So now we know that Aang knows about the assassin. And I am hoping that Zuko will change his mind. Of course, is it going to matter? Is the assassin going to care if Zuko's he's just getting paid for it, right? So presumably if he's like, here's your money, just don't do it, he would stop. But I don't know. Unclear. Anyway, that's where we are, right? Also, Iroh is jacked and he's gonna do some shit and he's gonna escape from prison, and I'm here for it. I'm ready. Maybe it'll be in this episode. We don't know. Do you hear that?
Let's start.
Yeah. The Avatar and the Firelord. What?
Aang, it's time you learned my history with
Firelord.
Firelord Sozin. You need to understand how the war began if you want to know how to end it.
Also, this is a flashback episode. It's gonna be Iroh.
You need to know the story of your great-grandfather's demise. It will reveal your own destiny.
Who gave that to him? I need to know if it was for ill purpose or good purpose. Was it Iroh trying to help him, or was it Azula trying to, fuck him over?
An entire village. Hundreds of houses. All completely buried in ash.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's what it used to look like?
It's never too early.
Oh, never mind. I'm just an idiot today.
In the end, he died a very old and successful man.
But how did he die?
Didn't you pay any attention in school, Zuko? He died peacefully, in his sleep.
Is that another Fire Nation lie, though? What we've heard so far from the Fire Nation people?
How did his grandfather die?
Peacefully in his sleep? Of old age or whatever, right? Supposedly.
What does it mean? The Fire Sages keep the secret history in the Dragonbone catacombs.
Why would they keep the true history, though? Interesting.
The final testament of Firelord Sozin.
Oh.
I remember my friend.
Roku?
Looks like I win again, Roku.
Nice one, Sozin.
You were friends with Firelord Sozin?
Back then, he was just Prince Sozin, and he was my best friend.
Say something to her.
Love is hard when you're young.
You don't have to tell me.
Don't worry, it gets better. Sozin and I shared many things, including a birthday.
Oh. They had a birthday party.
Did something happen to my father?
No, Prince Sozin. We are not here for you. We are here to announce the identity of the next Avatar. It is our honor to serve you,
Roku?
Avatar Roku.
Wonder if that made him jealous.
Hey, why aren't you packed yet, all-powerful Avatar?
He doesn't seem upset.
Come on, show me how it's done using all 4 kinds of bending.
I started packing, but then the fire sages told me I won't need any worldly possessions anymore.
Here, I hope you're at least allowed to have this.
That's how he got his little hair thing.
It's supposed to be worn by the Crown Prince.
I want you to have it.
He seems like a good guy. How did he do all this bad stuff?
Where I met an old friend of yours, Monk Gyatso.
No way!
He was a kid.
Hey, Gyatso, you want to see a new glider trick?
Check this out.
I can't believe I never thought of that.
Some friendships are so strong, they can even transcend lifetimes.
It's cute.
Waterbending was especially challenging for me. But in time, I mastered it as well.
Oh, dang.
I moved on to
He was
the Earth
handsome.
Kingdom. My earthbending master, Sud, was uncompromising, stubborn, and blunt,
What was his name?
Set.
and a lifelong friend.
Oh. He's showing up.
12
That's cool.
long years passed before
12
I saw
years?
my friend again. And I had changed as well.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Sozin, or should I say, Firelord.
Customarily, my subjects bow before greeting me.
Oh,
But you're the exception.
okay. It's like he's already quite changed.
He was still my best friend. And a few months later, he was my best man.
Aw. He got married.
It's that girl who didn't even know you were alive.
Tamin, I was persistent.
I mean, she had her little glowing cheeks at him, too.
I had my own vision for a brighter future.
I've been thinking hard about the state of the world lately.
Sozin, it's my wedding. Have a cookie. Lighten up.
I know, but just hear me out. It's an amazing stroke of fate we know each other so well, isn't it? Together we could do anything. Our nation is enjoying an unprecedented time of peace and wealth. And we're so fortunate in so many ways.
Where are you
Yeah.
going with this?
I've been thinking, we should share this prosperity with the rest of the world. In our hands is the most successful empire in history. It's time we expanded it.
Talking about taking over.
There are no possibilities. This is the last I want to hear about this.
That was my first real test as the Avatar. Unfortunately, it was many years before I learned that Sozin had gone ahead with his plan.
I mean, honestly, you probably should have had a longer conversation than that. You know, a bit more nuanced. Maybe explain to him what you're trying to say, you know?
I've seen the colony, Sozin. How dare you occupy Earth Kingdom territory?
How dare you address your Firelord this way?
Don't do this, Sozin. Don't challenge me. It will only end badly.
Damn! He was fucking him up.
I'm sparing you, Sozin. I'm letting you go in the name of our past friendship. But I warn you, Even a single step out of line will result in your permanent end.
That escalated quite quickly. You know?
The Avatar's supposed to do.
I know, but I just wonder what happened to
Sozin
him.
and I didn't speak or see each other for 25 years after our battle. I spend most of my spare time here, at my home.
Oh, shit.
Let's go!
Oh gosh, they're just destroying a whole... Is it just the volcano, or is it something else?
Roku's island was 100 miles away, but I could still feel it rumbling. I had never seen anything like this catastrophe.
Okay, so it was natural. It wasn't him doing it. That's what I was worried about.
Yeah.
Maybe he's gonna go try to help him, and that's how he dies? This whole island's gonna get destroyed. Well, buried in ash, we know, from present day, right?
This is amazing, Roku. You're battling a volcano, and you're winning.
My success didn't last, Aang. There was no way I could do it all.
But you had a friend? No? Yeah? No? Yeah? I should stop guessing.
It's all right, Bang! Get out of here! I'm fine!
Aww. Oh gosh. Is that the other volcano on there?
Need a hand, old friend?
Sozin?
I was right! He's a firebender. How can he help? Oh, I guess he can.
It's too much. Please.
Without you, all my plans are suddenly possible. I have a vision for the future, Roku.
What? Why come help him in the first place? Why come help if you're not gonna help? Angry.
Who's... Wait, that's me, isn't it?
With Roku gone and the great comet returning, the timing was perfect to change the world. I knew the next Avatar would be born an air nomad, so I wiped out the air temples. But somehow the new Avatar eluded me.
You sent this, didn't you? The note said that I needed to know about my great-grandfather's death, but he was still alive in the end.
No, it wasn't.
What are you talking about?
You'll have more than one great-grandfather, Prince Zuko. Sozin was your father's grandfather. Your mother's grandfather
Roku?
was Avatar Roku.
Why are you telling me this?
Because understanding the struggle between your two great-grandfathers can help you better understand the battle within yourself.
Evil and good are always at war inside you, Zuko. It is your nature, your legacy. What happened generations ago can be resolved now by you. Because of your legacy, you alone can cleanse the sins of our family and the Fire Nation. This is a royal artifact.
Oh.
It's supposed to be worn by the Crown Prince.
Roku was just as much Fire Nation as Sozin was, right? If anything, their story proves anyone's capable of great good and great evil.
Yeah.
Everyone, even the Firelord and the Fire Nation, have to be treated like they're worth giving a chance. And I also think it was about friendships.
Do you really think friendships can last more than one lifetime?
I don't see why not.
Well, scientifically speaking, there's no way to prove that.
Oh, Sokka, just hold hands.
I think you need a minute. I don't know. I wasn't expecting for Roku to be Zuko's grandfather. You know, like on his grandfather, right? Not great grandfather.
His great grandfather.
Great grandfather. Okay.
His mother's grandfather.
His mother's father or mother's father. So yeah, like it makes sense because
depending on which parent the mother Ursa.
Yeah. It started getting me when I'm gonna start crying again. The dragon wrapped around Roku, like trying to, I don't know, it gets me like fucking dragons. I can't watch them get hurt. Like this is
Animals in general.
yeah, it's hard for me. But that got me. Ron Perlman is sorry.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
It's a great voice for Sozin.
Yeah. But that got me, and then
I was wondering when you were gonna do this.
and then just like Iroh, the fact that after everything, Iroh's still trying so hard to like get to Zuko and to like get through to him and to make him understand. It makes me so happy because I was kind of scared that he was gonna be upset, you know? I mean, he is upset, I think. But I was scared that he was gonna, which I mean, maybe it's silly because it's Iroh, you know, he wouldn't do that. But I was scared he might take it out on Zuko because Zuko's acting out. But I think Iroh understands, like he said in this episode, you know, more than anyone, that Zuko is battling these two parts of himself, you know, the part that has the lineage of Sozin and the part that has the lineage of Roku. And I like how the message of this episode, more than anything, is that everyone has within them the power or the ability to be good or bad. Like there's no, because there is light and dark, good and bad in everybody. It's what you choose to act on, you know, that makes you who you are. I think that whatever happened to Sozin, I think during the years that Roku was gone training to be the Avatar, changed him, and he stopped using the good inside him, using the light, you know? And probably Roku kept Sozin down to earth and human, right? Because he is the prince, you know? And I think maybe while he was gone, he let that get to him, and he let this Fire Nation supremacy sort of idea get to him. And I mean, I don't know. Of course, we didn't see Sozin during the years that Roku was gone. We don't know what happened to him, but I think that maybe I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt too much, but I think that at first Sozin thought that his plan would actually help people. Like, I think that in a weird, twisted way, he thought that he was doing the right thing by spreading the prosperity and happiness of the Fire Nation to other nations.
Yep.
And over time, you know the saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So he started getting corrupted by it. And it's so interesting.
I think he was corrupted by the ego of his success before the power came in.
Yeah, probably. But it's interesting, right? Because like I was saying in that scene, like, why did he go to help and then leave? And I think it's because he cared. Still, a part of him had that good in him all the way to almost the end, right? And he was like, I see my friend. He's in trouble. I'm going to go help him. And then when he was there and then he saw this opportunity to not have Roku stopping him from what he wanted to do and not have the Avatar as a threat, he let that ego, that power, everything come back, and he was like, actually, no, I'm gonna leave, you know, because it was too late. Like, he could have saved Roku, but he chose not to. But I think it's really interesting that they showed, like, that even to the end, there was a chance that he could do the right thing. And he chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it the same way Zuko didn't expect it, because he's like, I want to know about my grandfather. And then he's assuming it's Sozin. He's just like, Sozin. And he's like asking Azula. And then we're like, oh, there's a secret history of Sozin. And we're like, well, what happened? And then the whole time it's like he's learning about his great-grandfather. Sorry, not grandfather. But he doesn't know it because he's thinking like, oh, well, I know all this stuff.
He doesn't realize that he's learning about both of his great-grandfathers.
Yeah. And it's very interesting because I wonder, he obviously never knew that Roku was his great-grandfather.
No.
But his mom did. Like, she knows who her grandfather is, you know? And it's interesting that she wasn't allowed to tell him. I feel that was a thing that maybe was kept under wraps. Because you would think that would be a great honor, that you are a descendant of the last Avatar. But when the last Avatar also went against the Fire Nation, and you are Fire Nation, maybe it's a great shame, you know? So,
yeah.
But I don't think his mother would have felt that way. I think she would have thought it was an honor, because she seemed like a good person, you know? So, I don't know. I'm slowly losing hope that his mother is going to come into this at some point, you know? Because we're getting, you know, this is the last season. But I still have, like, a sliver of hope that at some point Ursa, right,
mm-hmm.
will come back into the picture from somewhere. I don't know where she is, but yeah. Yeah, I was not expecting this episode to do that to me. It's so sad to see the way that ego and power and that can corrupt a person and can ruin something that's so good, you know? Like
the friendship.
They were such, like, they were best friends, and Sozin he seemed like a nice, normal, down-to-earth sort of guy. Like, you wouldn't think when you're seeing him and Roku as teenagers that guy would grow up to, like, kill his best friend and try to take over the friggin' world and try to kill a baby or a child. But he started looking for him when he was a baby, so presumably he would have been willing to kill a baby.
I mean,
had he found him.
Killed an entire nation of babies and children and teenagers and men and women.
The Airbenders.
Yeah,
that's true. He did. He took out all the air temples, right? Because he knew. Because they know the cycle. Like, they knew since somebody in the Fire Nation was the last Avatar, the next would be air, and then.
That's the cycle of the elements. That is also the cycle of rebirth into.
I mean, yeah. Like, how do you go from just that nice, normal guy to that? Like, it's crazy. And I think that, I mean, it's obviously Avatar is kind of oversimplifying it for easy to be more palatable, like easier to understand for younger people, like the idea of like good and evil and like, but I do think that they do still add some nuance into it, right? Like the idea that everybody has that within them and you get to choose which one.
I mean, it's like, it's environmental.
Mm-hmm. Nature versus nurture versus everything else, which, you know, it's a very complicated thing than whether it's complicated, right? Just what you believe about human nature, and two people put in the exact same situation dealing with the exact same thing are going to grow up to be two vastly different people, you know? And I don't know. I don't have the answers. Obviously, nobody does, but yeah. what I meant was, like, I think that there is a lot of gray area in real life of, like, and Avatar is just simplifying the notion. But I mean, that's what we do in real life too. We simplify it because it's easier than trying to get into the nuance of every single thing that makes a person good or evil or,
yeah,
you know, X, Y, and Z. It really got me the Toph saying to Aang, like, do you really think that, like, friendships can last more than one lifetime? See, again, me right now. And then, like, they're holding hands, you know, because, like, I don't know, it makes me wonder, like, is Toph, like, the reincarnation in this world of the guy that Roku was best friends with, you know, the earthbender that he learned from? Like, obviously we don't know. It's another...
We didn't get his last name.
Yeah. So it's just... I think it's something too that you feel when you're young, right? And you have, like, a best friend that's always in your mind, gonna be your best friend, and, like, the idea that could transcend time and a lifetime is not even for kids. I think that's an amazing idea. Like, I don't necessarily believe in reincarnation, rebirth, all that stuff personally, but I think it's a beautiful idea. Like, the idea that I could live again and I could, you know, find you and fall in love with you again, and we could have a whole new story together. That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
You know, that you could find the people that you love and that you would get to love them and exist with them. Sorry, I don't know why it's getting me. For more than one life. I don't know, it's a nice idea, and it got me. It still gets me because, I don't know, I think when you get older, or even if you're not older, but you've lost people or parts, you know, you've gone through stuff in your life, it's kind of a nice idea that, like, maybe you could, in another lifetime... Stop it, babe.
I'm getting hot, babe. I'm sorry. I'll just hold your hand.
Thank you. That you could... I thought you were doing the thing. Get to... I don't know, talk to them again, exist with them again. I mean, that's heaven too. Like, I don't know, it's very complicated. But I knew that Zuko was, like, probably my favorite character on the show. You know, like, I just really like him and connect with him, and Iroh, of course. But I think this episode really hit me in an unexpected way, like, to realize. And I think it's because Zuko just... he has such complexity and such layers to him, and just this idea that he's fighting against two, you know, varying parts of his self, and that's why he's struggling so much, is very compelling to me.
Yeah.
And
the struggle of Roku and Sozin are still fighting.
Yeah.
You know, those two people, those two philosophies are still warring inside of him.
Yeah. It gets you too, doesn't it? Like,
oh, yeah, it does.
It just... What about it gets you? Let you have a chance to talk.
Just that, like, two people can be so alike and care for each other so much, yet have very different, like, solutions, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Sozin's idea of, like, wanting to spread their prosperity and everything through force.
Yeah.
And Roku's idea of just letting, you know, the nations be and prosper on their own and have their own, you know,
traditions and
like
separate from each other.
Their own growth and their own everything, rather than just being one nation,
sort of.
Yeah, one homogenation of the world.
Yeah.
You know, it's the individuality that they can celebrate.
Yeah, the uniqueness of being an earthbender versus an airbender versus... in the Fire Nation.
Especially after a nation is conquered and, you know, and they're taken over, you know, their individuality is kind of smothered.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, even in the Fire Nation, their individuality is smothered. As we saw in the last episode, they don't dance. They don't get to...
Their expression, not just their individuality.
They don't get to express themselves.
They aren't allowed to have ways of expressing themselves that don't benefit the nation.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
If it only benefits them, then it's extraneous and shameful.
Yeah. And I think it's really cool too that, sorry, I didn't want to cut you off. I think it's cool too that like we get to see the differences in all the nations through the fact that Aang and Sokka and Katara and Toph are friends. I mean, they don't have a firebender with them yet, but
they do.
Who?
Aang.
Yeah, but I mean, like Zuko. I'm done.
Like a boring only firebender.
Yeah.
Ew.
But yeah, they don't have that with them, but we've seen Aang and Toph and Sokka and Katara all kind of approach things differently and understand things differently based off of where they come from. And that's only ever been an asset. If they all came from the same place and understood everything in the world in the same way, it would be a detriment to everything because they wouldn't get to see it from all these different perspectives and they wouldn't understand it in all these different ways and learn things differently.
And they would also, the flaws that each of them would have would compound because they would all have that flaw rather than having something of benefit to balance it out. You know, I think that's something that a lot of people miss whenever they're like, you know, if they have any kind of bigotry or hatred towards another group because they're different, it's just short-sightedness, thinking that all of your thoughts are the best, most proper way of thinking, and no one else can have a better idea or solution or anything like that, you know.
Anyway, I was
flexible thinking.
I was not expecting to be sobbing here in this reaction tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it got me, and there's multiple reasons for that, like, which I've explained, so I don't need to explain again.
No.
But it was a really good episode. It was really good. And yeah.
What do you think is going to happen now?
God, I don't know. Something else is going to make me cry.
I mean, definitely.
I hope that this makes Aang more open to Zuko, even though they've had a troubled sort of past. I hope it allows him and Sokka, Katara, Toph to allow for Zuko to have that growth and that change and to understand that there is that capacity for good and bad in everybody, you know, and that it can maybe open a door where one wasn't really open before.
Sure.
For them in that regard. And I hope that it can allow Zuko the same sort of thing, you know, to learn that Avatar Roku was his grandfather. Maybe that can put a piece into a puzzle that he didn't realize was missing all these years, because he has been fighting this, and like he said in the beach episode, he doesn't know what's right and what's wrong anymore, right? Because like Iroh said, he's fighting these two parts of himself, and I think that maybe once he learns this, he can accept the part of himself that is Roku more, and maybe he can realize that it's not bad to feel differently about how the Fire Nation should be, and it doesn't make him wrong to maybe want a different way of life for the Fire Nation and a different kind of being, because as we saw in like the flashback with Iroh, like the first flashback we ever saw, where Zuko was so upset that they were willing to sacrifice these soldiers, right? He's like, you can't do that. That'll kill all these people, you know? He doesn't necessarily believe the same way that Ozai or Sozin does, that the ends justify the means. And I think that Zuko would be a good leader of the Fire Nation, and I think that he would maybe lead it in a better way than Sozin did and than Ozai does. And maybe this can allow for him to lend more credibility to what Iroh says and to listen to Iroh more. Because Iroh is good, and he isn't descendant from Roku. He's just descendant from Sozin, right? So, again, the possibility for good and bad in everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so he might be descendant from Sozin, but Sozin had the capacity for good too. He just chose to do the other thing. So
yeah,
it's, I don't know.
And he chose to do bad in.
It at least started with him trying to do
hopes
good.
of doing good with it.
Yeah. At least initially. Like, obviously, ultimately, he kind of fully embraced bad, I feel, you know.
Yeah.
But even up until, like I said, close to the end, he was still battling that within himself even, because he did go to save Roku. You know? He chose to do that. He chose to go and try to help him. Like, maybe
the thing that I like about that final, like, meeting between them is he still wanted to help Roku.
Mm-hmm.
But he realized that he wouldn't have to keep choosing if he weren't there.
And then
So he let the choice make him.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. I thought it was interesting, too, how Sozin had, like, a dragon as well. And it was, like, a dark dragon.
It was a dark blue.
Yeah, dark blue. And Roku had the dragon that was red, right? And it's sort of like, they're a bit yin-yang. I know they're not white and black, but they're, you know, a bit opposite. And also, we saw those two dragons in Zuko's dream that time. When he was having the dream about Azula and everything. And it was, or when they were in Ba Sing Se, and he was on the T, and he was like...
Yeah, they were fighting.
Mm-hmm. And it was just interesting, because it's like, it harkens back to that, and, you know, different parts of him, which are both literally different, you know, parts of him, but then also his past and his family and his history, which is just cool to see. Yeah, I think that is all that we really have to say about this episode. I really loved it. I was a little bit scarred by it, but, you know, that's...
Scarred? I didn't think it was that scary.
No, but it got me in the feels, which, you know, some people have said I'm going to cry a lot in season 3, and y'all are proven to be right. So I think I've cried at almost every episode. I think there's been like one that I didn't cry at. So we will see. I don't know why I bother putting makeup on at this point anymore. It's just like, it's just going to go away.
You should put more, like, mascara on. Like, just load up.
It's waterproof, so it doesn't matter.
Get cheaper mascara.
Although, if you want a good waterproof mascara, Sky High. I'm just saying, you guys. This is not a paid promotion, obviously.
They know.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. You can also watch the next episode right now over on Patreon, as well as my full-length reaction to this entire episode. That is linked in the description down below, and it is also patreon.com/
patreon.com/Carmen Young.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. So until next time. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.